Jake the Snake Roberts had a tweet where he was basically saying that WWE is using the superhero model where the fans don't really necessarily believe in superheroes anymore. I don't know if that was the specific message he sent, but that's at least what I got from it, and I agree. Because I think the issue is that they keep bringing up, Cena's overcome the odds, and I think it was somebody
they call
from
Cena Superman.
Exactly, and someone from I think it was Squared Circle or somewhere was saying that what other obstacle can frickin' Super Cena overcome?
Yeah.
It's like they have him as both Super Cena, but then they also have him as Batman. I don't know if you guys get that, where it's like he's got superpowers, but then there's other moments where no, exactly,
Cena wins. Lol.
Thank you, Keith. But then there's other moments where it seems like he's the really weak guy. Like WWE tries to make him look like the underdog or like the weak guy that has to overcome. It's like he's freaking attitude-adjusted Big Show. He's picked up Mark Henry. He's won handicap matches. I mean, for crying out loud, there's nothing else for the man to do, and they keep trying. When he was facing Alberto Del Rio, I'm like, are you serious? After everything he's gone, is this really the next threat?
Yeah.
Is this where we're going?
I mean, that's the whole
There's
issue.
nothing more for the damn guy to do.
That's the whole issue is you got a guy like Cena. We've been doing the same song and dance for 10 years now. It's like, get a clue. Don't peg the guy as the underdog ever. At this point, just, if you're going to have Cena come out there, just be like, look, I've beaten them all. Try and beat me. Just try and stop me. Look at my record. Just look at my record to see how dominant I've been in this company. He probably has the best win-loss ratio of absolutely of the modern era. Last 25 years or so. Just peg the guy at what he is, and that is someone who pretty much always wins. Stop trying to make him something he's not, and I think that's what pisses a lot of people off is, you try and give him this underdog story over and over again when he's so clearly not the underdog, and it hurts his feuds because he's booked so strongly. It's just so clear when somebody is just not a threat to him at all. And the only time things are really good is when there's that one title match every few months or, maybe once or twice a year where there's a chance he can lose. And then that's when there's an actual Cena match that you really can get into.
The dumb part is that they do play both sides of that coin depending on who John Cena's feuding with. Like, when he was feuding with Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, it was the whole, what makes you so different than all these other people I've beaten? But when he's facing The Rock or somebody, he's the underdog. So they use whichever side of that coin is convenient. And I think people are just sick of that already. Or John Cena is not the freaking underdog, so stop trying to call him that.
Well, yeah, playing that card, it just doesn't... You can't play both sides just to have it be consistent. And like you said, when his feud, his promos with Bryan were excellent because he was finally just outright saying who he was, someone who's beaten them all. Like, what makes you think you can stop me? And that's when it's most effective. I hate the bullshit when you have, it's the Raw before the pay-per-view, and he goes to lift Mark Henry. Oh, and he can't do it. Oh, guess what we're gonna see at the pay-per-view? He's gonna lift Mark Henry. Well, guess what? He lifted the Big Show and Edge at the same time. Why are we supposed to think he can't lift Mark Henry? Yes.
But that was more than 2 years ago. Wrestling time.
It's almost like you can do a parallel of John Cena and AJ Styles where they've pretty much done everything. So it's like, so what do you do here now? What's your contribution? Because there's nothing you can provide. And even if Cena went heel, honestly, let's bring up the thing that people talk about the most. Even if he didn't want heel, what the hell will be so different from anything else? He's still the same guy that's won a bunch of matches. He's overcome everything. He's not going to magically become this other person.
Wouldn't he, though? Because if he took the approach of yeah, I'm so good, I've beaten all these people. Yeah, you've been booing me for years. Just, I'm going to soak it all in now. Wouldn't that add new life to that character? Like, if he was heel, he wouldn't be the underdog because you wouldn't want them to cheer for him.
Maybe, but at the same time, it would still be the same scenario where it's like he would still be the guy that overcomes the odds. And if he lost, then it wouldn't make any sense, because as a heel character, if that was your motivation, that you're all here, you're all the way up here, and then they bring you back down, then who the hell are you? So John Cena is pretty much at a standstill, and honestly, I'm really getting tired, man. Like, you and I were, Keith, were talking after we recorded last week's episode about just, starting to watch other independent companies. I'm getting tired of being fed the same thing. I've been fed the same thing for like 7 to 8 years now, primarily in the WWE, and I think it's time where they just need to change shit. And they keep implying that it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Make it happen already.
And that's why, to me, right now, a few weeks ago, or, sort of the beginning of our podcast run, I think we had the question of, did we like Raw more or NXT more? And as of late, obviously, for me, it's been NXT. And right now, NXT is my favorite wrestling show because it's sort of in its own little world. And I think it's just structured really well so that you're not overexposed to anyone too much. And, you're looking forward to seeing, because you only see him so often, you're always looking forward to the next match of your favorite guy. And it's just like the way it's structured, it's in its own little world, and it's awesome and it's really fun. And that's sort of what's keeping me into wrestling. Like, that's the show I look forward to watching every week. And to sort of take it back to the whole Cena thing, the one thing I will credit him for, and this is sort of an aside to our current topic, is, you look at Raw's main event, which was John Cena and the Big Show versus Del Rio and Orton. And to John Cena's credit, he's the only one that crowd gave a damn about, whether they hated him or they liked him. He was the only one.
I mean, the bar wasn't very high.
He was the only one that they gave even a little bit of a shit about. And guess what? Guess what that match was? That was your whole main event scene. And they cared about 1 of 4. That's a 25%, aka a failure. So they're failing on the main event front because everyone they care about on the show is in the mid and undercard right now. And that's a problem. You don't want your last match of the show, of every show, getting the least reaction of other things. So that's a problem for them.
Let's talk hypothetical for a moment here. What happens when John Cena inevitably moves up to that WrestleMania status with like the Brock Lesnars and the Undertakers? Would you guys prefer that over seeing him every week? Like, would that all of a sudden make John Cena this magical person?
John Cena is going to become the general manager before that happens. And that is what... Whenever John Cena has to retire or whatever, he's going to be the managerial role. He's going to be bullshitted into becoming an authority figure, because then the kids can still see him. He can still do, the cheesy John Cena jokes. I don't think he's ever going to be a Legends guy. Based on interviews, I don't think he would be the type of guy that maybe would want to have that part-time stuff, considering all the shit he said, regarding guys like The Rock, where they sort of come back and then they leave. Guys like Brock Lesnar. So I don't think that's going to happen. But even then, I just don't see how the man can contribute to anything anymore other than just keeping those that have been there because of him.
I don't know. I think he could sort of do a more limited schedule, sort of like what Shawn Michaels was doing towards the end of his career, where he's not in the title picture. He'll just kind of do a featured feud and just kind of put people over, maybe do a Jericho type of thing. And actually,
that will never happen with John Cena.
You
Come
never
on.
know. Okay.
Never.
All it takes, I'm telling you, we don't believe it now, but all it takes is one guy to come in and start making more money than him. That's all it takes. And all of a sudden, John Cena ain't nothing special anymore. I mean, we all know how cutthroat wrestling is. If there's another guy who's making more money, guess who's out of the top spot?
I don't even see that happening. I think that's why I'm frustrated.
I was going to say, it's so indoctrinated into us that John Cena is the guy and he'll never leave that spot. It's seriously,
Cena wins, lol.
tough. It is seriously tough to picture the company without him, or that it's like you almost feel like he's immortal and he'll never go away. That's how much it's ingrained into us because it's been that long.